Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for another Exclusive Networks TGIF webinar. My name is Chris Benares, and I'm the Marketing Manager here at Exclusive Networks. Today's webinar will start with a more technical analysis of a few different Fortinet products and finish off with the demo. But before we get into that, I want to take a couple minutes to inform any newcomers joining us today about how Exclusive Networks could add value to your business. As you hopefully know by now, we're a value-added distributor for cyber and cloud security specifically. We have many offices worldwide, and we have the capability to handle international deals and logistics all around the world. We do pre-configuration and staging services. We're Fortinet's #1 global distributor, and we have rapid turnaround on quotes. We have direct access to account managers and support resources such as myself. And you always get to speak to a real person when you contact Exclusive Networks. We don't do any robots or automated calls or automated answering. And just to take you into a little bit about what we offer technical, marketing, and sales support with global reach, assistance with building qualified leads and closing deals, certification training in group and individual scenarios. We offer a wide range of financing and leasing services to cover a variety of IT project requirements and technologies. And we offer a growing list of vendor partners chosen specifically to integrate with each other. We also offer pre- and post-sale support, security tools migration, security tools jumpstart services, staging services, vulnerability testing services, cloud competency training, just to name a few. Our speaker today is, of course, David Yang. He is our Director of Support and Services here at Exclusive Networks. He has over 20 years of experience working with Fortinet products. He spent over 3 years working as a support and sales engineer at Fortinet and has been with us at Exclusive Networks for over 9 years. So now it's time to get into the reason you are all here. Without further ado, David, please take it away.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and thanks for sharing the space and the time with me. Hopefully, you guys have a chance to listening to our TGIF last week. So it's a quick introduction of the security fabrics, Fortinet security fabric, as well as some of the FortiGate features. Today, we'll dive more into the FortiGate a little bit further, although this is not a training class, but give you an overview and understanding how to set up a FortiGate, how to, what kind of feature and function that FortiGate offers that become the core or the heart of the Fortinet security fabrics. So today's agenda, I'm going to talk about the FortiGate related to the security fabric, why it is so important, as well as I'm going to deal into how to set up the network and how to set up the most talk about topics, SD-WAN, as well as the latest feature of the Fortinet feature for as a management controller for FortiSwitch as well as FortiAP. And I also will introduce to you the security profile, the firewall policy, some of the VPN, and logging, alerting email, and very importantly, the security rating. Understand how well the FortiGate sits in the middle of the center of the security fabric that provide you the security posture. Understand how well your security setting is. Before I jump right into the security fabric and also the FortiGate, I just want to quickly introduce you a couple of resources, actually quite a few resources that Fortinet provides. You definitely should go to and always go to Fortinet.com to look at different products, especially the data sheets, the summary of each of the products and technologies. And you definitely can learn more about the video, the docs. The video has a lot of information you can understand from the Fortinet point of view, and also much more in-depth understanding knowledge about each of the FortiGate product using the docs. Partner portal, I hope, hopefully you guys all will know what this partner portal is about. It contains a lot of information, useful information such as the sales pricing, the NSC certification training, and CTAP. You also should always have account set up already with the support.fortinet.com to register your product, and also later on we'll introduce to you quickly about the FortiCloud. You can also go into the FortiGuard and understand what's the latest trending security threat that is and what Fortinet can do about it. And lastly, you can join the forum.fortinet.com to understand, to see the discussion, and maybe post your own question and even comments or answers. So always, I always begin with the Fortinet security fabrics. Security fabric basically contains multiple different pieces, and that all include the Fortinet products. And at the center of a security fabric is the FortiGate. Last week, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you didn't, feel free to go to our YouTube channel and to watch the previously presented security fabrics slides and the talk. So if you look at the Fortinet security fabrics, and the core products mainly is the FortiGate plus the FortiAnalyzer or any logging and management pieces. And then on the outer layer is a FortiManager, FortiAP, switch, client, sandbox, and mail. All those need to have a chance to connect to FortiGate as well as the whole security connector together. And the outer layers basically is all the other Fortinet products, also including third-party partners. They use the Fortinet Security Fabric API to connect to the whole Security Fabric infrastructure framework. When we deal with FortiGate, the number one first thing is FortiASIC. Last week I have briefly talked about it, but this week you can see that I kind of give you a more summary information of what FortiASIC is about. So you have content process. So the content process basically to process or to handle all this high-speed content inspection, all those encryption, decryption, all those security detection, packet inspection, all done by this CP processor. CP processor currently the generation is 9. There will be next generation, which is CP10. We're coming up possibly next year. And there's a security processor, and there's a network processor, and also system on chip processor, SoC4. Quickly, I want to introduce you a couple of different processes. The FortiGate security has a different way to manage. So you can manage the local, menu from local, which is like a USB console port, or you can do remotely, which like HTTPS or SSH or even Telnet if you wish, or you can use even FortiCloud to manage the FortiGate. The FortiGate Cloud will be talked more about in the next episode. Hopefully you'll register. If you're not, please go ahead. The FortiGate Cloud basically will be talking about the FortiGate's logging, reporting, as well as management. Next week, the next episode, we'll also talk about the FortiAnalyzer and FortiManagers. Now, FortiGate security also provide you overall physical and logical topologies, and you can monitor all the devices connect to your network through the FortiGates, and also has logging, reporting, and an email alert to give you a warning for the events as well as any system changes. And FortiGate also control the network and has a way to set up VLAN as well as SD-WAN. All this will be demo later on. And FortiGate basically using the policy and do traffic shaping or throttling to control the traffic to optimize your SD-WAN traffic. And FortiGate also has a user environment. You can set up a local user as well as LDAP or any other user database that can connect to the FortiGate. And you can also have a multi-factor authentication such as token. The FortiToken will be utilized, and also we're going to do a demo as well as a VPN. And lastly, the security profile, you configure your security profile, then put onto the policy to take effect on different type of traffic. And the FortiLink, FortiSwitch, FortiAP will also really be talking about this a little bit later. Security rating, again, is very important because you want to know once you set up FortiGate, how well it does provide your security posture. So FortiGate Manager, again, you can use local GUI, you can use CLI, you can use remote HTTPS, or you can use FortiCloud, and you do different system setting, and you can do monitor and alert. So this is one of the newest product that on the FortiGate. This is entry level. Last week we talked about entry level, mid range, we call large enterprise, different levels. So 60F is latest product model that in the entry level family. So you can see that there's a WAN 1 port, WAN 2 port, DMZ port, and 2 designated FortiLink ports, as well as 5 switch ports. Now, the thing we need to understand that even though there's a designated as a remark on the box, WAN 1, WAN 2, DMZ, but actually any switch ports you can still make as connection to the WAN if you want to. If you have more than 2, more than 3, you can always still using those switch ports. Later on, I'll show you how to do that. And the USB ports, you can basically connect to external 3G, 4G, even 5G modem if it's available for you to use for the WAN connectivities. For 60F also it's good to have a local console connection that can use to access the FortiGate directly through the command line interface. And the other one I would like to introduce to you is 100F, which is the latest member or additional member to the mid-range FortiGate products. 100F, the most important features is also SoC4, which is the FortiASIC system on chip generation 4. And then it has a dual power supply. It's usually, you don't see that in the mid-range, lower end of mid-range. And has two 10 gig SFP plus ports. You can use it for your uplink, or you can connect to your switch. That's probably the best way, because switch usually has high speed ports available. And it also has the same thing as the 60F we just saw as USB, as well as the console ports. You can see all those information from the Fortinet.com website. So just quickly and briefly, because we have SE will be presenting to you the FortiGate Cloud next week. So I'll just briefly tell you what's going on with this. Is basically there's a FortiGate Cloud. You can log in. Fortinet has come up with a 41 login. So used to be you have a support login, which is now become a 41 login. Use 41 login on the right-hand top corner. You can click on that to select FortiGate, and it will bring you the FortiGate Cloud. In the FortiGate Cloud, you can do management as well as analysis. Analysis basically is log and reporting. And the management side, it's not really a full feature of a management, but it does give you a subset of what you can do with the FortiGate regardingly, right? Now, so this is the FortiGate. By default, it's using 443, so you just type in HTTPS and the IP address of the FortiGate. You will see the first screen. This is a dashboard, right? In this dashboard, you will see what system status is, and what kind of CPU memory usage that is. And you can also see that all the license being up to date, or they're expiring, or they already expired. So you can see that from this screen, and try to be honest with you, if you have FortiGate, you definitely want auto subscription to be updated and new. So you will continue to get the newest update of your signatures and the detections. Okay. FortiGate Cloud is the one that we just mentioned about. You can activate it. Once you activate it, you will send all those login information to the FortiGate Cloud. You can see that this one, particular one's using a free license. So each FortiGate comes with a free license for 7 days of log and reporting retention period. So you can use to have your log and report for 7 days. After 7 days, we'll recycle. So and that means you can also subscribe to like a full year of log and report retention if you want to. That'll be part of the pricing guide. You can look it up. And you can see that security fabric. And from that, you can see the FortiGate, this particular FortiGate is running, it's connecting using the FortiLink with the 1 switch and 2 APs. top corner here says HA master. So I'm running HA high availability clustering with the 2100F, right? And then this is a security rating. We will delve into each one of them in more detail later, right? I'll give you a whole demo. Hopefully I'll reserve about 20 minutes of time to go in detail of each one of them so you can see more, see better, understand better. The FortiView to me is a very important view because it gives you close to real time. You can look at what's going on with your FortiGate. Oh, by the way, just one thing to mention, the CPU and memory are very important. So you can see that currently I'm using around 65 to 70% of memory. So you need to be careful. Once it reaches 75 to 80%, you will run into some stealth mode, which will no longer taking new sessions. So I do know that this is the firmware version 6.2.0 does have some memory issue. So you definitely want to, if you're running any 5.x version or if you're running 6.0, you definitely want to upgrade to 6.2.2 if you like to see the new features. Sorry about this. Just want to mention that to you guys. So this is FortiView basically gives you quite a few different option to see what the traffic is going on. You just like to take a look. When I see the traffic going on pretty heavily, you like to go to the source and you can click into that to go detail into each of the information to understand. Like for instance, this one's 192.168.1.103, which is, if I click into it, I will see more detail about this specific traffic coming from this source IP address. The same thing happened to the destination, right? If you click on destination, you will see what destination that is. And when you click on destination, you will drill more detail into what kind of protocol, what kind of usage, maybe even some kind of a understanding what it's about, and then you can decide what you want to do. You can, if you see the source and destination, you can actually set up a policy to block or even throttle using traffic shaping to throttle the traffic, sometimes to make sure you optimize your traffic this way. Right? One thing I often got a question or got a call from a customer, I should say my partners like you guys, is that how come I don't see certain features? I thought it's supposed to be there, but I don't see that. So something I want to mention to you guys is that if you click on system on the GUI management, click on system, feature visibility, you will see all those features that are listed here. This is the one I have. By default, it's much less, especially for entry levels such as 60E, 60F, 80E. Those entry levels much less. And mid-range depends which one, and a lot of them actually was by default is not turning on. So you might want to take a look at what you can do with it, right? To see which one you want to see, and you can even choose what security feature that you can choose. So over here, it's custom because I made my changes here, but there's a default one like NGFW or UTM. You can compare them to see if that really fits your need. A lot of feature you may not want to see it because it take on the memory space, right? Any feature, you turn it on, basically need to load all the code into the OS. Sometimes you may not want to use, you never use that, you don't need to turn it on. And one thing before we jump into the FortiGate is so-called transparent and net route mode. Transparent mode is basically if you have customers that they already have existing products such as firewall or some kind of router, but they don't want to change or make drastic change to your network, to their network. You can set a FortiGate as transparent mode and just plug it in, physically plug it in, one wire in, one wire out, and make it as transparent mode. The security features are still there. Security features there, even the VPN is still there. It's just not routing or changing on the layer 3 level. It's everything still go through the FortiGate as is, but FortiGate is doing all the inspection or the detection for you. So that's a real nice way when you try to plug it into any network. Of course, net route mode, we all know what it's about. And just want to mention that CTAP it's actually one of the way you can deploy that. So when people using existing network, they don't know what's going on with the security setting or security posture is, you can deploy CTAP as running as a FortiGate, and the CTAP will collect all logs and later on generate a nice report to show your customer, see what's going on with the network, what kind of security risk or breaches or any detection has had happened in the network that people will be convinced. And it's a very nice segue to introduce FortiGate into the environment. Right, so once you know the FortiGate, the ports connections, so usually you can go in there and just start working on the configurations. So this is the quick introduction of the network interface. Again, this is not a training course, so I'm trying to give you a very high level brief of what's going on, what you can do with the FortiGates, right? So there's network interface basically give you all the network interface ports available on your box, right? So on this picture, you can see that it's 100F with all the ports available. There's 2HA, 2 WAN port, and DMZ. All those physical port will be shown here. I already configured SD-WAN. That's why under SD-WAN, you see the WAN 1, WAN 2, and DMZ. And as I previously mentioned that, it doesn't have to be WAN 1, WAN 2 be the WAN only. Because I have 3 internet connections, so I use WAN 1, WAN 2 as DSL, and the DMZ as fiber. Now, we're going to talk about the SD-WAN a little bit later, but right now, just give you an understanding what you can do with your ports, right? So all the physical ports appear on the screen that you can configure them accordingly. And in each port, you can also set up with different, I want to say different function, different feature. Basically, you have a VLAN, you can set up an aggregate group, you can set up a redundant group, loopback group, and even use the switch port to be a hardware or software switch. And then, of course, you have a Wi-Fi, so you can set up a Wi-Fi in here. All those will appear as a network interface in the screen, in this particular screen of the management, right? And I also want to mention that FortiGate can be a DHCP server. So behind each ports, right, you can have a different VLAN. You can have different department. Last week we talked about micro-segmentation. You can do this through the FortiGate using different ports and set up DHCP server, and any ports connect to it will be monitored and will be getting a IP address and be monitored by the FortiGate. So now we jump right into the SD-WAN. Last week I introduced this picture. So as far you can see, there's a 3G, there's a FortiGate here, and there's a 3G, 4G modem possible connect to your, I previously mentioned as USB ports, right? Or you can use so-called, there's a product called FortiExtender that's actually connecting to one of the Ethernet ports. And that FortiExtender is also a 3G, 4G modem. So it will be considered as another internet connectivities. In this picture, you can see that besides 3G, 4G, they can have multiple internet connections. Just like the previous slides I show you, I have 2 DSL and 1 fiber, right? So I can have all those connect all together. And similarly, I can integrate them together as SD-WAN. In the past, right? In the past, there's an MPLS, which is, well, may or may not you guys know, but a lot of banking, a lot of financial institutions, they use MPLS because it's secure, it's given a designated bandwidth to use. So they can use the MPLS to connect to their branch office. If they have any critical or mission critical financial transaction, they want to go through the MPLS instead of internet connections. But nowadays, because SD-WAN and because the security is so broad reach, then you can integrate all those links together, so-called SD-WAN. So basically, you can understand what kind of traffic that is, and you can utilize your link to more optimize your connectivity to the internet, to the public cloud, to the private cloud, for your SaaS information, or even for your branch or headquarters. So this is SD-WAN, right? As you can see, it's also part of the GUI management interface from the FortiGate that under the network, we talk about interface, and there's an SD-WAN section. You can easily configure SD-WAN. So doesn't matter what kind of link you have. You can just create new, you can add different link into it, and then assign the gateway IP address, then you're all set. So you can see from this screen, right, I have 2 DSL and 1 fiber. And those link, I make a connection together. However, you can see that I set up a cost for DSL because they are low speed, right? So I move them as a cost 10, which means we utilize fiber a lot more than utilizing my DSL. So DSL at this point, once I have fiber about 300 meg, the DSL is like 10, 50 meg. I'm using DSL as my overflow or using it as a backup, right? You can click on the volume, you can see the overall total volume that been used, utilized throughout these 3 links. The reason you don't see DMZ as a larger amount enough, that's because I just had this fiber link for about a week. Now, once you set up SD-WAN, the interface, the second thing you should do is configure SLA, right? Once you what you need to do is configure SLA, meaning that you need to look at latency, and which latency is larger than the others. You definitely want to use the one that has lighter one to be your primary connection to the internet. And then once you have the SLA set up, configured, you need to go to the priority rule to set up what priority you want to use for your overall link. This way the FortiGate will find a way to best utilize your internet connectivity based on their bandwidth, based on the latency, based on the SLA rule you have set up. Now those are the SD-WAN. So once you have all those SD-WAN, your internet connectivity set up, now you open up your whole network to a much bigger pipe, bigger bandwidth. That means you're gonna have a lot more traffic, and that's also equal to you open up your security holes or security vulnerabilities, right? So this part, we're gonna talk about a little bit more into the security profile. FortiGate has a section, the whole section designated for the security profiles. Later on, we'll talk about a little bit deeper. So we all know number one security will come to our minds, malware, virus, right? So there's an antivirus, anti-malware section just for you to set up what kind of a malware virus protection you want to have by using the antivirus security profile. So this will be helping you to set up the antivirus profile better. And then also you have a web filtering. FortiGate's web filtering is based on category, and you can set to allow and monitor and block different category of traffic. So it depends on your company policy, it depends on your property department policies, then you can set up differently using this security profile. Again, at the end of this presentation, at the end of this discussion, I will be giving you a demo for you to see a little bit further. And then very importantly, and people are all talking about is NGFW, next generation firewall. That's all about application control, right? In this discussion, we'll kind of show you certain traffic or certain type of application can be monitored, allowed, or blocked by the FortiGate. So because application in the past, in the older generation of firewall, they're all based on the port or based on the protocol, but now the application is more dynamic. So there's no way you can have a fixed port protocol that be used by different application or even same application because the dynamics change. So you cannot do a fixed one. So you have to do an application layer, which is layer 7, right? And this example over here on the screen, you can see that I'm setting up the Facebook, right, to be monitored in here. This is a quick example. It doesn't mean that this is the only one. You can set up all different profiles as you wish. And also, you can set up FortiGate to be authenticator, meaning that any user they probably need to go through a user authentication. Besides like if you have Microsoft Active Directory, then the user come into the office, they log into your domain, and after domain, they probably say, okay, I want to access internet. You can set up certain way, right, to say, hey, if you want to access internet, depends on who the users are or is, then you can give them different authentication method. So in this case, if your customer has, let's say, Microsoft Active Directory, then you can integrate with LDAP. You can set up an LDAP and import all the user here. You can also set up some local user if you want to, right? For instance, maybe you're administrator and you want to make sure when they come in, they use local login authentication instead of your AD authentication. Depends on the cases, right? You also can utilize the Forti token. You can see that, like my name here, David Yang. I'm using the Active Directory LDAP integration, and I have the multiple authentication which is using Forti tokens. This Forti token I'm using is a mobile Forti token. So all I need to do is download a Forti token mobile onto my Android device or iPhone. Then anytime you log in, they will generate another Forti token code and for you to enter as a secondary or multi authentication method, right? And then one thing I do want to mention that there always come, each of the new FortiGate always come with 2 free Forti token, right? It's 2. Now, when we talk about user, we also talk about VPN. So mostly a lot of people, because remote user, the road warrior, the travel, they bring their laptop, they need to access company resource, then they use VPN. SSL VPN is lightweight, very easy to set up. That's why I just want to talk about, but also Fortinet or FortiGate provides both IPsec and SSL VPN for client dial-up, or as well as gateway to gateway SSL VPN, not SSL, IPsec VPN. So you can set up a gateway to gateway VPN between your branch and headquarter office, or you can have the traveler or remote user that do either IPsec VPN or SSL VPN. This example just show you how easy the SSL VPN can be set up. So all you need to do is just go to the SSL VPN setup. You configure, you just configure which WAN link you want to set up for your incoming SSL VPN traffic, right? So this is how you set up this way, and then all you need to do is from the previous one, all the user, you can group them together with, I call a VPN client group, and you give them whole access. As for SSL VPN, there's 2 kind of access. One is web, the other one is tunnel. So full access, meaning that all the user within the VPN client will have both web access and the tunnel access. Now talk about FortiLink, which is one of the major feature on the FortiGate OS 6.2 or 6.0, I should say. You can use FortiLink to connect to your FortiSwitch, especially like a 100F we just talked about. They have a 10 gig SPF plus ports. You can connect to your FortiGate switch. Again, this only work for FortiGate switch, or Fortinet switch. So this Fortinet switch will connect directly to the FortiGate and can be managed, can be controlled, can be monitored by the FortiGate, right? From the FortiGate, you can, from the FortiGate to the Forti switch, and the Forti switch can connect to different device as well as the AP. So all those can be integrated together through the FortiLink. So this is the basic view of the FortiLink connect to the Forti switch. You can see that there's FortiLink and connect to, this is the Forti switch, right? This switch I have is 24, total of 48 port, total is 48 ports. Oh no, sorry, 24 ports, 12 of them are PoE plus, and 12 of them just regular gigabits. And there's 2 gigaports that connect to FortiLink. And then the bottom screen is basically just let you know that you can set up your own VLAN. So you can group different ports into different VLAN as you wish. So this is basically the FortiSwitch ports management and monitoring screen. You can see that on each of the FortiSwitch, you can configure the ports with different features and with the different VLANs. You can see there's enabled features such as, if you have a PoE, you can restart PoE. You can enable PoE if you wish. And native VLAN, in my case, I designate certain port to be Wi-Fi only. I designate certain port to be server only, as well as other devices. And then you also can have different VLAN to be allowed to access through the ports. This is a FortiAP management and monitoring. So you can see that it's very easy. You basically, FortiGate become the central controller, single pane of glass to monitor and manage all the AP and the switch. This is the AP configuration, set up the different SSID. The one I want to mention to you is that if you have a guest, you can even use a captive portal to set it up. So that means when people log in, they will get a front-end portal and ask them to enter certain information they need in order to get access to the Wi-Fi, guest Wi-Fi. Now, after all the security profile, after all the user and even the switch port and the AP port setting, all in all, you need to come back to the firewall policy. So the firewall policy basic is a direction based. So depends on which direction you want to set up, you want to control. So in this case, you can see the screen is from my Wi-Fi network to my internal LAN network, or my Wi-Fi to the SD-WAN to the internet network. So it depends on which direction you want to control that you can set up security policies. Right, this is a policy setting. It's very straightforward, very easy. You go in there, incoming, outgoing, the source. You can do different inspection mode. You can do set up a net or route mode. So if on this net route mode, if you click on disable net, it will automatically become the route mode, right? And then this is IP address assignment. And you can see that security profiles here, right? Security profile basically let you select what kind of profile, what kind of security you want to put on to different direction of the traffic, right? Of course, by default, it's a factory default, but you can also set up your own customized security profile if you wish. Right, this is traffic shaping. I just want to bring this up because I got a few calls, people asking about traffic shaping. Traffic shaping by default is not showing in the security profile. No, I'm sorry, not security, but the firewall policy. So you need to enable from your CLI first, then you will pick it up from the firewall policy. Then you can select which traffic shaping you want to use. It's similar to security profile. There's a traffic shaping profile you can configure. At the end, pretty much, we talk about all the security setting, all the firewall setting. Now you need to know how to log your information. So there's a logging and reporting section that gives you all the logs. You can view the logs in close to real time. And then also you have log setting. You can send a log to different places, such as this one, I have set it to my FortiAnalyzer. When you have a FortiCloud enabled, those logs will be also sent to the FortiGate cloud. So you can collect logs over there too. Right, and then you probably already understand this. You can definitely set up the alert email. So there's a severity alert, or there's all events alert. All you need to do is just set up the email address. Very straightforward too. Now, the couple of monitoring. So there's actually quite a few monitoring you can do on the FortiGate itself. You can monitor traffic, the VLAN, the quarantine, even the DHCP assignment, and the VPN, the Wi-Fi, and the Forti clients, right? So in this case, I just want to show you this. I did the monitoring on my SD-WAN, and you can see that most of the load is happening on DMZ, which is the fiber I have. all in all, like I mentioned in the first slides, we want to talk about the security rating. It's really want to do is, once you have this all the setting done, your configuration done, let's say you took about half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hour setting, then you really want to know what you have, right? You really want to understand what's my security assessment, what's my security posture. That's a very popular buzzword nowadays. What's my security posture? I need to see how good my FortiGate sit in my security on the network, right? So that's the security rating can really bring to you. You can do whatever you wish, but you definitely want to look at your security rating, understand overall infrastructure that you have has real protect or not. So I just want to give you a quick example over here is basis audit, right? So the audit log setting here says fail. So to give you explanation, right? Saying the FortiGate should be configured to log all session traffic. So it's up to you, right? I didn't do that because I want to save some space, but could be any other reason. And I can also say, oh yeah, I should do that. Then I can do a easy apply. So you can click on this apply and basically will turn all those log setting into each of the firewall policies. So it's very easy to use. But you also can do that as you can go into each of the policy and select if you want to log them all. What I want to do is just want to do a quick demo for you guys. So this is a FortiGate, right? So quickly go dive into that. This is the FortiGate, the first page, the dashboard. You saw that earlier in the screenshots. So this is the one I have. I'm a HA master. So let me just quickly show you the HA setting here. It's very easy. And also want to make sure that this HA is not just for the higher end model. Any FortiGate model, you can do this, right? And you don't have to use HA port to heartbeat. You can use pretty much any port you select to be a heartbeat synchronization and detection. And so the ports on the FortiGate is very flexible. You can use that. So smaller model, if you want to, you can still do the HA, right? So let me go back to status. So over here, you can see this just like exactly the same as a screenshot. So you can see. And then, so I want to bring you to the FortiView. Right. So this is the FortiView. You can see this source over here. So let me pick, I don't know which one I want to pick. I can pick this one. So this is Optiplex. This is the box I have. So you can see that I can drill into it. And this is Zoom, right? So this is Zoom information you can see, right? So this is all in front of me and I can see what's going on. Like I mentioned to you earlier, you can use this to say, hey, somebody's doing something very suspicious, then maybe I should block this traffic to see what's going on or throttle this traffic to minimize the high usage. Maybe somebody's trying to download some big files. I can immediately recognize that and use my security policy to use the traffic sharing to throttle that particular string of sessions, right? You can also, the source and destination similar. So you can see the destination over here too. You can drill into them too, right? Now I want to bring to the interface, as I mentioned earlier. So the network interface, you can see this is a FortiLink, right? And under FortiLink, I have quite a few different VLANs available, right? So if you want to, for instance, let me just give you a quick example, very quick. So this is one of the physical ports, port number 7, right? You can do whatever you want. You can select anything you want, right? And then you can also do this. So if I say, hey, I want to create interface, right? You can create a VLAN interface, you can create whatever you need to do, right? Or you can say, hey, I want to create a soft switch, right? And I can add different ports to it. So this become, let's say, a demo, right? Let me just do whatever. So I can select this, and I believe I can just click ping. Yeah, click OK, right? So you can see, probably under here. Yeah, if you see this demo link here, right? has port 789 in there. So I can easily set up a software switch. So these 3 ports basically will be grouped together, right? And all those devices connected, this 3 port together will be called demo, right? And then I can use demo to be one of the group link to aggregate all of them together and to set up different policy if I want to. So that's what I'm talking about, like similar to micro segmentation. That I can set it up for different department to use. Maybe it's finance department or maybe engineering department. I can set up using different security profile. I can set up to different traffic shaping to optimize or minimize the traffic usage, right? So that's network interface, a very, very quick, high level overview on that, right? And what I also want to show you just quickly, the FortiLink. This is all hardware side, right? So this basically say, okay, I have 4 ports I configured or I designate as my FortiLink ports, right? You don't have to be all 4. I just want to show you an example. You can connect different port to different Forti switch. So this is the Forti switch as you see on the screenshots, right? And you can see that's 2527. It's actually it's my FortiLink ports right now. And then I have a VLAN. I create a VLAN. Let's say I create a VLAN called Wi-Fi. So my AP gonna connect to this Wi-Fi VLAN. Right? This is just network, just like a network interface. And then on my ports, you can see that I have a couple of ports designated for Wi-Fi. So this 2 designated to Wi-Fi. So they both have FAP connect to it. You can see this, the AP in here and some information here, right? So that's FortiLink. Very high level, very brief overview of that. Next, I want to talk to you about the security profile, like we mentioned earlier. So, for instance, this is antivirus. So I can create my new one. So I can see the detect virus. I can block, or I can say monitor. Right? It depends your need, but mostly we do block, right? And then use HD traffic, POP3, SMTP, all those traffic I can do blocking if they're coming in as a virus, right? If any virus malware detected, we'll block. So this demo, and later on, I'll show you how to set up the firewall policy. In the web filtering, you can see that I already have one called demo here. So you can see that over here, I already created this, right? And then all this kind of thing can all be done. So all I need to do is, right, I can create a new one. Hold on a second, you see. I can create a new one, category usage code, okay. Over here, FortiGate, local category, potential, I can create a new one, right? Different categories, I can select that. And then let's say I put dating here, click OK it. And then this is all the category I can select, right? To be blocked or be monitored, whatever by my application firewall. So over here, you can select if you want to be allow, monitor, or whatever that is over here to select the different type of usage of that. So this is also a demo on the application layer, and there's DNS, there's application control. So application control, let's look at a demo here. So you can see that I already created 2 of them, or both belong to Facebook. All you need to just create new, and you can select whatever, right? You can select whatever is available. You can do a search. If I do a search on Amazon, right? You can select whatever Amazon specific application you want to block, right? Maybe select Amazon's video, something like that. You can select that and all right. So you can select it, and then you can click OK, right? You can block Amazon video if you want to, right? So this is a very simple one, right? To security profile, but you definitely want to customize it and use it in your security profile, in your security policies, right? And I quickly wanted to show you this user definition You define the user. So this is LDAP. You go to LDAP server, right? You create your LDAP server for the AD integration, right? Then you go to the user definition. You can create new, and you can say, hey, this is going to be part of my LDAP server side, so it's going to remove LDAP users, right? Very easy, very straightforward, and you just select the user from here, right? And then for each user, all you do just say, hey, I want to use a two-factor authentication, right? So it's like authentication, you select which token is available, then you just assign to it. And then you can send basically it's a verification code to my mobile device. Once I receive that, I can enter into my 40 token mobile app on my Android device. Then once it's set, I have this token loaded onto my mobile phone. Anytime I need to log in, if I assign as multi-factor authentication, then I need to enter the 40 token mobile code in there. That's very useful for VPN. So if you look at the VPN, for instance, the setting here, this is a VPN setting, all those information here and here, right? So I'm part of the VPN client. Because I have multi-factor authentication enabled, so every time I use VPN, I need to enter my token code. Now, all in all, once you set it up, the user, even the VPN, the secure profile, then you go to the firewall policy, right? So this is firewall policy. So let me show you one for VPN. So this is VPN, SSL VPN. So basically, anybody come in as SSL VPN to my LAN network, allow them to come in the LAN network and allow them to access the server group, right? The server group is all the resource available for the VPN coming in, right? And you can see that, right? This is security profile, right? So you can enable them or do whatever with them, right? So the other one I want to show you is this one. So with the traffic shaping, right? So you can see that traffic shaping is here. It didn't appear on the previous policy because I didn't enable the traffic shaping, right? So traffic shaping is here. So I can select different ones, right? I can select different ones. So if I say, hey, I want to see what this is about, right? So you can see that allow 1 meg, right? So I can click on this. I can edit the traffic shaper profile. So that's very, very high level view of what's going on with this. The other thing I want to show you is this, right? So you can use the CRI Console here. Click on this, the CRI Console, right? You can use a question mark and tell you what's the first level of command you can use, right? You can do quite a few different things. One thing I want to tell you is if you say, hey, I messed up or I just playing around with it, now I don't need to use it anymore, then you can do this. You can do an exact factory default, right? So factory reset. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm doing all my FortiGate. So this is the way you can do it, exact factory default or exact factory reset. So basically it's similar to you guys used to the command line interface. You can just type in first few words, then we'll tab it, it will give you the full command, right? A couple of things are very useful in here is one of the exact and something you can show a system interface. It'll give you all these, or you can show full configurations, right? So all those are very useful. The other thing I want to show you is just quickly, you can do system reboot, shutdown, you can do configuration, backup, restore from here, right? And then if you want to do upgrades, right? So you click on system firmware, you can upgrade your firmware from here, right? All this would be useful as you first set up your FortiGate, you're playing around with it. Hopefully this is helpful for you. And without further ado, I hand it over to Chris.
Thanks, David. Just want to take a couple seconds here. I don't want to take up too much of the rest of your time for everybody's day here. Although we are Fortinet's #1 distributor, we do work with several other vendors. As I mentioned in the beginning, all of our vendors can integrate with each other, and we do offer support and advice on how to capitalize on cross-selling opportunities. In the future, we will be adding more vendors to our line card, so stay tuned. Just want to take a quick second here to so you can see here that the next episodes of when we have them and the topics, but also just to reiterate that you can take advantage of our resources, and you can contact our sales team directly, or you can contact David and our other support engineers at these email addresses. Just send an email to either of these addresses and we'll get you set up with any resources you may need to inquire, purchase, or deploy Fortinet products. Don't forget to check out our YouTube page and follow us on LinkedIn. That's all we have for you today. So thanks again, and we hope to see you on the next episode. Take care.